Plots. Plots let you form plans to advance your position at the expense of others, such as breaking free from your own clan if you are below the clan leader, or you can recruit other characters to join plots against targets, for example, plot to attack another clan, something more easily to understand, to make coalitions. And then you have this, the military power balance between the plotters and the target. This value determines which plot decision the plotter can take. And this means that when you start, you can start adding guys into the plot, which will mean that you're going to add conspirators, and this is a number that you have to get in order to do the plot. To say in another words, once the combined military power of the plotter is high enough relative to that of the target, you can carry out the plot. Diplomacy. Well, in diplomacy, you can use diplomacy to declare war to other clans, negotiate peace, and offer the daughter's hand into marriage to other people. And as well, you can exchange hostages, which is very important. Then here we have characters. In characters, this window allows you to view all the characters in the game. It displays attributes, traits, and clans affiliation. And you can interact with characters by right-clicking the portraits, or going here, right-click and go to diplomacy and do diplomacy with each character that you want. So this will show you each character. You can basically, this is what you find in CK2 as the character finder, something like that. So this is over here in characters. Then we have the ninja clans, or shinobis. Shinobis are responsibility of the Master of the Guard. The Master of the Guard is a guy that you're going to send out there into every province that you have to find ninjas and hire them to work for you. And they could do, right now I don't have any ninjas here that I can show you what they can do, but you can tell them to do several things, such as capturing hostage boy from other clan leader, for example, the son of the son. Let's go and capture the son of the Imagawa clan leader. Let's go and destroy some of their supplies. So stuff like that you can do with ninjas. So you send the Master of the Guard to find the ninjas. And then we have religion. Religion here, I'm going to tell you just very quickly. I have mentioned this before on the factions map mode, but here you can see them actually. The Christianity appears when the Portuguese traders arrive into Japan, but right now we have the Shintoism and the Buddhism that comes from China. And then here you see a lot of information that is very useful. You can join each faction. Each faction gives you some bonuses. Shintoism gives you honor, and Buddhism gives you the ability to create armies very quickly. Now that we have understand a little bit more what we're seeing here, now let's go and talk about characters and what we can see here. This is the character sheet. Here you have the three key attributes for characters, which are diplomacy, martial, and intrigue. And then you have here as well a lot of information. You have here the age of the own character. This is relevant only in the fact that when you reach 15 years, your character is considered an adult, and when you reach 40 years up to that point on, the chances of dying are going to increase. Why is this? Because there are some attributes that are hidden attributes, such as health. For example, if you have some fertility issue, it's not going to be shown on the actual sheet, but those are part of the uncertainty that makes the thing a little bit more exciting. Let's talk about the diplomatic attributes here. The first one is diplomacy. Diplomatic attribute represents how tactful and politically savvy a character is. So high diplomacy is more likely to be successful in negotiations and will be much more better administrator. Then you have martial, which is characters with high martial scores will give bonuses to armies when they are commanding the armies. And intrigue represents the subtlety and talent of deception. High intrigue do a better job at underhanded actions, things that have things to do with organizing plots against others and stuff like that. As I mentioned before, again, the fertility is something that you are not going to see, but fertility is going to be added in between you and your spouse. So if your spouse happen to be a very fertile one and you are a fertile guy, chances are that you're going to have a lot of children. So the characters also have titles and traits. Now, let me talk about traits. Traits are this guy here. Characters may acquire traits through their lives that make them distinctive. These appear as icons below titles when you open a character's profile. Traits can confer bonuses and penalties, or change the way the character is viewed by others. These are dependent on what is the lifestyle of your character, who was the guy that taught the character when he was growing, and stuff like that. And then we have the titles. Here is shown the Kokujin titles. These are the daimyo titles, and this is the clan leader title. Now, in terms of CK2, this is a baron, these are baronies, these are duchies, and this is the king title. You can see the marquee here, which is very ornated. This means that this guy is a clan leader. And this guy here, which is the heir, which is his son, actually, Sonorizuke, has a very plain marquee, wooden, very simple wooden marquee. And to show you another option, for example, here, we see this guy. You see the difference. This is the clan leader of the Kikuchi, and down here you have this guy, for example. This guy here, you have this, and you have this one as well. So the differentiation on, for example, the rings, you remember on CK2, this is the way you differentiate these ranks. Now, relationships are very important here. For example, if I click here and I go to Kikuchi Shigetomo, I see these numbers here. Obviously, as I mentioned before, green means good, red means bad. And these are, because this has a complex, complex mechanic about relationship. So the ruler view, or the character sheet, shows the relationships as well. So these are the opinions and the relationships. Then what you have: the parents, the spouse, the children, and the siblings. So this is very important, and it holds true for every single other character that you click. And then if you have a liege, for example, let's say this guy here, if you click on him, it says liege. He has a liege. His liege is the clan leader. For example, this guy, the Sochikamune leader of our clan, he doesn't have a liege, but his son has a liege. So this is indicating who is the above him. Okay. Basically, if you are playing not as a clan leader, you should try to stay in the good graces of your liege. If he has an opinion of you, he may grant you additional titles. If your liege considers you unreliable, he may revoke your title and even order you to commit seppuku. So these are things to take into account. Now let's talk about the heir. So to make things more clearly, this is the heir. It appears next to the character portrait. This is the character you have designated to assume the leadership of your dynasty when your character dies. Inheritance passed down to the eldest male child. If you are a Kokujin, for example, or a daimyo, your oldest son at the time of your character's death will succeed him and assume his landed titles. But if you are the clan leader, you can go to here, as I mentioned before, and you can nominate one of your sons. You can if you don't like one of your sons, you can nominate another one. Okay, so this is the difference in between the clan leader and the other ranks on the line. Then vassals, for example. Here, right now I don't have vassals because vassals are going to appear when you start granting land. However, vassals are very important because vassals are going to be the guys that are going to run other parts of your territories when you, for example, reach more than the territories that you can administer. So you start giving land to other guys. Then you have your spouse. Now, the spouse is a very important and valuable supporter and conciliar, as well as a marriage partner with whom a character seeks to produce children. Wives add their own diplomacy, martial, and intrigue attributes to those of their husband. So that is something that is important to take into account when you find a spouse. A spouse will give you some part of their attributes. Say, for example, she has martial 4, and she's going to give him half of her martial. Her martial was 4, now half of that is 2. 13 plus 2 is going to give 15. This is the general attributes that this guy shows to other guys, and these are the attributes that it shows to its actual people. The parents, for example, here you can see his parent is So Shigemoto. They are shown in here. The parents play a crucial role in the development of your character. When parents bear a child, they pass down some of their characteristics. Smart parents will likely have even smarter children, while slow-witted parents are unlikely to have intelligent children. Genetic defects, such as club feet, hair lips, and stuff like that, are part of those hidden traits, or sometimes those traits are passed and are called the traits that are congenital. And finally, here we have the court. On the court, you can see a very general situation on the characters that live within your territory. And of course, here you can see opinion. You can click here to see who has the better opinion of you and who has the less opinion. You can put them over tier, who is more important in terms of rank and stuff like that. And this is important because here, for example, you can hover over Kikuchi Gomoji, which is the actual spouse of Sochikamune, and here you can see the most important information about a character at a glance. So this will bring up a window displaying the character's attributes and titles, and you can also right click and start going for view diplomacy and start doing diplomatic things with this character, and as well, for example, view the character and stuff like that. You can toggle messages of interest. This means that if you click here and you see this green check, means that this guy is of interest, and everything that happens to him is going to appear here on the high priority messages. Finally, to wrap this part up, I'm going to talk about the titles and talk a little bit more about this. Life during the Sengoku period was highly formalized. The social order drew legitimacy from the figurehead of the emperor himself, and every person knew his or her place in society. Among the nobility, titles granted authority to rule over parts of the country in the emperor's name. So, we have the Kokujin. Now, I need to show you, for example, here. You see this part that says Kikuchi, right? And if I click here, this is a Kokujin. The Kokujin of Hata is part of the daimyo of Tosa. How do I know that? If I go to the Kuni, which is the daimyo, you see it's part of the daimyo of Tosa. So Tosa is these three. So these three are Kokujin of Tosa. So the Kokujin are single provinces which are called Kori. These provinces that are called Kori, this is a single Kori, single provinces which is a Kori. It's the owner, it's called a Kokujin, which is a baron. They are responsible for the administration of the actual Kori, including development of its village and strengthening of its castle. And sometimes some Kokujin may be independent, not answering to any higher nobleman. Most, however, owe allegiance to a daimyo who offers them protection. The daimyo is the guy that is above them. The daimyo is it's called the kuni. The kuni consisting of several provinces. For example, let's go here to let's do the same example here. The kuni here, as I mentioned before, is Tosa. This kuni has 3 koris. The kuni of Awa has 1, 2, 3, and 4 koris, as you can see. The kuni of Io has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 koris, and as I mentioned before, the owner of the kori is a kokujin. The owner of the kuni is a daimyo. The owner of a group of daimyos or a group of koris is the clan leader. And as well, you can get something very interesting, which is court ranks. You are going to petition the emperor to grant you different types of ranks, and these are going to be more and more higher as long as you petition them. As you send for a petition, you will get them. This time is the court rank Shosanmi will be removed from Sochikamune, and it's going to take the Juni rank. These ranks are going to give you monthly honor. So these are ceremonial ranks, which are different. As I mentioned before, I wanted to explain what of these guys or offices can do. So, Master of Ceremonies. What is a Master of Ceremonies? A Master of Ceremonies is responsible for the administration of the liege domain. His performance is primarily determined by his diplomacy attribute. He can be sent on missions to improve villages, improve relations with other clan leaders, or squeeze extra tax money out of provinces. Then the Master of the Arms are the head of characters military is the Master of the Arms, so it's the Minister of Defense. His martial attribute decides what bonuses he will confer on troops under his command in combat. He can be sent on missions to improve castles, which are defenses, and hire troops, and as well to restore order within the peasantry. And then the Master of the Guard. Master of the Guard is the counterpart of the Spy Master in CK2. So this is the Master of the Guard, the Spy Master. This guy is responsible for security and espionage. His effectiveness is determined by his intrigue. He can be sent on missions to improve guilds, which further will improve the ability to gain money, sow dissent in enemy provinces, and hire stealthy shinobi clans to do your bidding. So, in addition to attributes, characters may acquire traits through their lives that make them unique. This is important to note because a character may have 2 to 5 traits. These are the traits here. For example, this example has a lisp, painter, and kind, and a skilled tactician as well. It has 4 of 5, so it can have up to 5. Traits can confer bonuses and penalties or change the way characters is viewed by others. So this, of course, is going to have an impact on how others see this guy. So this is going to affect opinion either positively or negatively. As well, the AI behavior is going to be determined over their traits. For example, let's say this guy is ambitious, is charitable, and just. So whatever he does on the world, he is going to do it because he's going to try to get more power because he's ambitious, but every time he does it, he's going to have into account diplomacy. So he's not going to take action aggressively. It's more likely that he's going to ask for it. So just to give you an example. So we have different types of traits here, traits that are based on intrigue, diplomacy, martial, and as I mentioned before, health traits that are hidden, congenital traits that are traits that are going to be given by your parents, lifestyle traits that are based on what do you do and what the character is doing in its day-by-day basis. Personality traits is going to be shaped during childhood, dependent on the events, and as well who is going to be the guy that is going to lead this child up to adulthood. With that being said, like and subscribe. Next, we're going to talk about other interesting things here in the Sengoku tutorial.